Before we get into this episode, I want to explain what this podcast is and specifically why I chose to title it COVID-18. Many may look back on high school seniors during the pandemic and think of the countless memes on social media that reflected this alternate reality. However, they will not know their stories. Missing graduation, grad night, and prom is extremely heart-wrenching and something every senior can relate to. But surprisingly enough, it is not the only obstacle. The class of 2020 isn't just missing memorable events. We're also stepping into the adult world racked by a pandemic, with our country in a panic. Some of us are barely 18. My birthday was in January, and many of us haven't even turned 18 yet. COVID-18 is a podcast that explores a plethora of topics that 18-year-olds, seniors in high school, relate to, and I am so excited to share them with you. So let's start small. The first week of quarantine. You're listening to COVID-18.
It's week 1, day 1 of quarantine with COVID-19. It's been pretty relaxing for this week. Just been at home working out, looking at Google Classroom to see if I have any classwork, and also playing a lot of video games. But nevertheless, all that's pretty chill. All I really do is just repeat that.
The first week of quarantine was a change for everyone. High school seniors like Stephen Rice from El Capitan were settling into the announcement they had just heard. School was out, the future was unknown, and as of now, we might be back on campus by April 20th. The day I came home to start my self-isolation, I immediately knew I was going to make a list of daily goals and monthly achievements to keep me going. I even set myself a bedtime. When uncertainty comes into my life, my response is always to work.
I need to smell like you're about to burn.
That's the oil.
You want me to leave one in the fridge?
Well, do you guys want me to make it again? Soon?
Angelina Jerome, senior from El Cap, had a similar idea.
Cooped up inside. My mom is even afraid to open up the windows, so I kind of just sit around and wait for work to pop up, and if no work pops up, then I'm just watching TV or I'm cleaning.
Many seniors were choosing to look on the bright side of the quarantine. One senior, Rolando Guillen from El Capitan, looked with the greater good in mind.
The reason I'm not affected by it is because I look at things through a bigger picture, and I don't really like to think about the things that I'm missing out on, but I like to think about the things that the reasons why we're self-quarantining in the first place, because we have to stay home to stop the spread.
Christina Rayburn, senior from El Capitan, said it was teaching her gratitude.
Some people are out there homeless. I'm really, worried about the homeless because they're out there. And people are complaining, but at least we have a home to live in, and at least we have food on the table and a roof over our head.
But along with the new routine comes more of activities we had been told to not participate much in. One of these activities is known as social media.
Today I woke up and started off my day by scrolling through Instagram, looking through some posts.
I remember when my sister got MySpace. I was only in kindergarten because my sister and I have an 8-year age gap. It gave me a little insight into the new teenage trends. But of course, along with this new way of connecting through technology, came the dreaded stigmas of mental health statistics, showing how much social media can impact your self-worth and overall quality of life. So naturally, we're stuck inside, we're teenagers. What's the first thing we're going to do?
I've been on my phone way more than I ever was. Today I tried limiting it a little bit.
But in social isolation, this may not be all too bad for seniors. Many came to find comfort in it, in fact. Melanie Lemus, senior from El Capitan, felt like it's been her way to connect with other seniors.
I don't know, it kind of makes me feel better sometimes because I know that I'm not alone. Like, even when I look at seniors from our school, it's like, okay, we're all going through it together. And everyone around the world, like Merced High and Atwater, I see them posting sometimes.
But as Melanie confirmed, whether seniors felt distraught or optimistic, social media did not stay silent during this turbulent time.
I definitely need to limit my use on my phone and on social media as well, because I also saw some negative stuff about people saying how seniors were overreacting. And yes, there's people dying and there's people that are actually sick, but I think that seniors should still have feelings, towards what's happening, and being able to express themselves makes us feel less alone,
When large changes happen in our lives, mental health is usually the first thing to fluctuate. Lyrical Adam, senior at El Capitan, felt her motivation lacking early on.
I don't have the energy to get out of bed like I would if I was going to school. I would know I would have to get up and go to school. Right now, it's kind of just I wake up and I just want to go back to bed because I already know I have nothing to do. It's this is holding me hostage inside of my house.
Reminiscing was a common occurrence, which led to many mixed feelings during this self-isolation. I, myself, was getting caught up in my old memories, thinking about friendships, hardships, the difficulties I would be faced with my family at home, or the things I would be missing out on because of self-quarantine. My grandma was diagnosed with Alzheimer's when I was a sophomore in high school. For the last 2 years, I have been struggling to cope with living in my house, watching the fluidity of routine fade with my grandma's health. My grandpa has been coping with the loss of her intellect and has been taking on roles she had always traditionally taken on. All of this bombarded me with depression, and yet there was nothing I could do to help. So naturally, my senior year, I loaded up on classes, taking a full 8 periods and not a reduced day. When I did come home, I was faced with the fact that my mental health would suffer, but hopefully I could determine how much. For many, full-time life at home could end up being more harm than good. Angelina struggled with the recent passing of her brother, Anthony Jerome.
The vibe and the energy when I'm with my family is different now. It's more sensitive, because if I say I bring up a specific memory with my brother and my mom is emotional that day, or my sister is emotional that day, then they'll probably just end up crying and it would just spark a depressive episode. But if we're all having fun and laughing together and we bring up memories, then we laugh at the happy thoughts. But I feel it's a touch and go, kind of walking on eggshells.
The first week of quarantine showed to be a wild ride for seniors, no matter the background they came from. But with more scary news coming each and every day, and March possibly holding the last of high school memories, what does April hold? Tune in next week as seniors come to terms with heartbreaking news, and I investigate what our district is responding with during quarantine for the class of 2020. This is Rachel Livenall, signing out with We Said Youth Media.